These decisions are laid out for us in this nice, neat copy and paste life. But we hit a stage in our development where we're like, damn, this just isn't for me. We've lost the power, the weapon that responsibility in decision making
Gentlemen, let's cut
brings
the shit.
us. Life in its simplest terms is about making decisions, and we've made some horrible ones. This is the Better Man channel, where we choose to bring back the art form of responsible decision making, where we can receive some rewarding consequences. Nietzsche said that most simple things are actually quite complicated, and we can never be fully astonished at their intricacies. Think about it. Decision making is taken for granted. We think it's just simple. I choose to go here, I choose to do that, not much thought into it. And we lose its value of actually using it as a weapon. Imagine our decisions being like drawn back like an arrow, then released out into the world, where it's going to bring us back the spoils of our war, of our battle. And that consequence has some value, some valuable resources to it. But many times we just kind of willy-nilly make decisions and go with the flow, or at best we don't even make decisions. We're just caught up in the herd mentality. Thomas Sowell said that life is about decisions, and if you're not going to make a decision is going to be made for you. How many of us think, damn, that's me? I kind of just get caught up in going with everybody else. I'm not even really enjoying the art form of using decisions as a weapon. Decisions are being made for me, and I've lost my responsibility. I've lost my power. I've lost my control. And I think that goes back to us not seeing the beauty and actually the complications of what we see as a simple decision. Nietzsche said that all the simple things are quite complicated. And I like to see it or illustrate it as, imagine a juggler. He's just juggling 3 balls, and that's quite difficult in of itself. Have you tried that? It's hard. But you look at it and you think, no big deal, I could probably do that. And then he starts juggling some bowling pins, 3, 4, 5. And you're like, yeah, I could probably do that if I really wanted to try. And then someone else comes on stage and starts tossing in some extra bowling pins and maybe some chainsaws. And this dude's juggling 10 bowling pins and 2 chainsaws. And you're like, But what we forget to realize is the skill that it took, the mastery, the years of preparation for that guy to do that complicated thing, yet make it look simple. And that's the power of our decisions, right? When we begin to see those as not something simple, but something that has this art form to it, that they take skill to be a responsible, powerful decision maker, where we're actually regain some free thinking capacity to think for ourselves and not just see every decision as something simple, something that everyone can do, so there's really no power in it. And that's the mentality of the herd today. We're just going with the flow. We're not actually thinking for ourselves. Therefore, we've lost the power of our decision-making process. And many times we find ourselves in a position where other people are making decisions for us. You go to college because that's the American dream. You get married because that's the American dream. You follow this path because that's the American dream. These decisions are laid out for us in this nice, neat copy and paste life. But we hit a stage in our development where we're like, damn, this just isn't for me. We've lost the power, the weapon that responsibility in decision making brings us. In life, it's all about making decisions. If I make a decision, there's going to be consequences for that decision. If I am indecisive, there's consequences for the lack of my choices, the lack of my action. But I guarantee you, in a materialistic, consumeristic, economically driven world, someone's making decisions for you. If you're not in the driver's seat, I promise you, someone's driving your car in a direction that meets their needs and their agenda. We take decision making for granted. We take it for granted that we wake up in the morning, We choose to meditate or we choose not to. We choose to take a shower or choose not to. We get in the vehicle and we drive. We decide to drive. We go to work and we have to interact with the ins and outs of that social interactions of our work environment. We sit at our desk, our cubicle. We do our job, and hopefully we do it at an optimal level. We're good at what we do because that's what we do. Then we get in our car, go to the gym, and we do this elaborate workout routine, and then we go home and we read a book, and there's all these other ins and outs of the day that we've decided to do that makes up our existence, and we take it for granted that's just became habit and instinct. But imagine bringing someone from a totally different environment into your environment. It wouldn't be so simple for them. They may not even know how to drive a vehicle. They wouldn't know how to operate your system at work. They wouldn't know the workout routine. They wouldn't be able to perform your daily tasks just like you because it's not so simple to them, because it hasn't become a habit to them. There's an art form that implements what we take for granted as habit and instinct. It's because we've mastered it over a period of time. We've chosen these decisions to go into that career. We've made the decisions to learn how to drive a vehicle. We've made the decisions to learn how to work out in a fashionable way that benefits us. So everybody has these decisions that they've mastered over life, and it's become their responsibility, and it's used as a weapon. You've decided to get good at your job. You've decided to get good at working out. That's a weapon for you that brings back healthy consequences. We can see that maybe in some areas of our life, but we fail to recognize it in others. Every facet of your life requires a decision, and that decision is going to bring back a consequence. It's either going to be a negative, toxic consequence, or it's going to be a healthy, beneficial consequence. Like Nietzsche said, those simple things are quite complicated. Just like we've taken for granted the simple decisions that we make in life, they're actually quite complicated. And if we could begin to see decision making as an art form where it's our responsibility, our autonomy, our power to shoot that arrow of decision out into the world, where it's going to bring back us a valuable consequence, a desired consequence. We are in control of our lives. Decisions are our weapons. You have the greatest resource at your hand, and that's the ability to make a decision to go in that direction or choose not to go in that direction. You're filled with the ability to make decisions as man. That is our logical responsibility, to use those decisions as weapon that's going to bring us back valuable resources, valuable consequences, desirable ends. Our decisions a means to a desired end. We take it for granted, but decision making on surface level is simple, but it's so much more complicated than that, because every decision is going to bring back a consequence, desirable or undesirable. It's up to us to harness that power of each choice. And it truly is an art form to take a step back and look at each decision and kind of turn it over and examine it. What is this going to bring back to me? Is this going to bring back something that I want, something desirable, or is this going to cause negative consequences? We've made horrible, irrational, impatient decisions in relationships and career paths. We invested in that pyramid scheme that we knew deep within our heart that wasn't right, but we just make these willy-nilly decisions because we see them as just something simple that comes and goes instead of lasting consequences. We've got to begin to use our decisions as weapons, realizing they're going to bring back some fruit. They're going to bring back some animal that we've shot down. Do we want to eat of that rotten flesh, sick, worm-infested deer, or do we want to harness and harvest something that's going to sustain us and bring us back some rewarding nourishment? Every decision is a weapon. Many times we negate that weapon and push it to the side and let other people use our own decisions or lack of decisions as a weapon against us. And we wonder why our life sucks, because we're not harnessing our weapon. Our truest power is the ability to make a decision or not make a decision. I love you guys. You'll hear from me next episode.